Alright, what's up guys? Johnny B here, and I've got my 2011 NBA playoff predictions. That's what this is. You're going to kind of figure out the format of the whole little series here I'm doing, but I do want to just get right into it. This one here is going to be for the Eastern Conference Round 1. Here we go. The 1-8 matchup, Chicago Bulls versus the Indiana Pacers, and my biased opinion as a Bulls fan, I would say 4-0. I want the sweet baby, but kind of an unbiased prediction. I do believe the Indiana Pacers, they got some good pieces there, and since the coaching change, they're actually getting a lot better. They're actually, they're a decent team actually, and I think they do have a chance to make some noise. I just don't feel they have the pieces yet to beat the Chicago Bulls. They just don't match up well right now. I say the Bulls are going to be taking 4-1. Chicago Bulls, I know I've been hearing from my friends, Danny Granger has been saying, I think we can stop him. I think we can stop Derrick Rose. And I was watching a game and I heard Stacey's King put it in this way. Derrick Rose has seen every defense out there so far. Derrick Rose is one of those special players like MJ, Kobe, LeBron, Wade, and all of them. He's one of those special players that you can throw pretty much any defense at him, and he's still gonna get his points. He's still gonna do the job, and I think that's just what's gonna happen. Is right now the no defense that can really stop Rose, and I think the key for the Indiana Pacers is going to have to be to stop Lou Waldang or Carlos Boozer, slow down the bench, and watch out and pretty much try and play some defense and get out on the 3-point line and stop Kyle Korver and the rest of that Bulls bench. I think I truly think if the Indiana Pacers can, it's hard. You can't just employ something in the middle of especially in a playoff run. But if they can really get the defense going and try and shut down someone else, mainly Lou Waldang or Carlos Boozer, and limit them to 5 points a game. If you can hold down one of them, I think you can have a legitimate chance of trying to come back. But again, I just feel even with Danny Granger, their version of a superstar, even with Roy Hibbert playing at a high level, and I think Hibbert's gonna play well, unless he has Joakim Noah playing him. But again, I'm hearing talks of they want to put Noah on McRoberts, so Noah can push him out, but you gotta worry about Boozer's defense. But you have Taj Gibson again, a pretty good defender. And you have Kurt Thomas, the big enforcer, and Roy Hibbert I think is gonna be a tough matchup down in that post for anyone on the Bulls team because he's playing at high level. He's he's a big 7-footer. He's got a lot of potential, and he's really starting to put his game together. And this entire Pacers team is really kind of on a surge in a sense when you look at it. Since they got rid of Jim O'Brien, they've really they got their confidence back up. So I feel that the Pacers can put the Bulls a little bit of a run for their money, but not much. I think they're gonna get. I honestly think they can only get one game. It'll probably only be down in Indiana. If they want a legitimate chance of winning, they're gonna have to try and prove it in the UC, in the United Center. They gotta win one on the road, because right now, if you're gonna any team, honestly, if you're gonna go into Chicago Bulls, face them at the UC, that's some hostile territory you're going into. So, again, I feel Chicago, Indiana. I think unbiased 4-1. That's just my take. And now their matchup at the 4-5 spot, the Orlando Magic versus the Atlanta Hawks. Now, unlike Chicago Bulls, I don't know a lot about the other teams, but I do have enough insider that I can kind of get my take. So here we go. Orlando, Atlanta. I think this one's gonna be a 6-game series. Be one of the more entertaining games I think we see in the Eastern Conference first round. I think it really comes down to Hedo Turkoglu. I was thinking about this. I'm like, you know what? Atlanta has got a good shot having Joe Johnson. You got Josh Smith. You got Jamal Crawford off that bench. They added Kirk Heinrich, a great solid guard, and I thought, you know what, this Atlanta team has a good shot at really going against the Orlando Magic. Now, the Orlando Magic, I believe the Magic do lead, or actually not lead. I'm trying to figure out the word. I think they're the ones that won the season series against them. Again, season series really don't really mean much, but the thing is, I think Atlanta has a lot of firepower, a lot of scoring, a lot of talent there. Al Horford down in the middle, but I think again the key factor is gonna be Orlando Magic's Hedo Turkoglu. Turkoglu being what, like 6'9", kind of like a LeBron who plays that kind of point forward. He's a guy that can really handle the ball for them. And I think again, the problem is you also got to worry about Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard is for anyone he's a tough matchup. Guy's athletic. He's able to get pretty much almost any rebound on that court if you think about it, because of his leaping ability and just his size. And I think that's gonna be a little bit of a challenge for the Atlanta Hawks to really try and get up against them. So they're gonna have to really take advantage when Dwight Howard goes to the bench. Maybe try and get him in some early foul trouble. I don't know. If you can try and eliminate him, then you really just have to worry about Hedo Turkoglu. Then you also have to worry about Jason Richardson, Gilbert Arenas. But I think the matchups right now kind of favor the Magic, because of Dwight Howard, just because he's just going to be too much down in that post. And honestly, from what I saw in their last game, one of the last games against the Chicago Bulls, that Magic team, with or without Dwight Howard, can be a very effective team. I believe JJ Redick is also going to be coming back very soon as well, another three-point shooter, and that team is really built around three-point shooting. So the Hawks will, I think, for them to have a chance, they're going to have to do the same thing. They're going to need to, they're going to have to get out there on every three-point shooter. You got to worry about guys like Ryan Anderson, who's a power forward. He plays the 4 spot. He can really stretch it out. But the one thing is, you also have, for the Hawks, you have Josh Smith, who's an athletic 4 that can step out. I think can defend guys going to that perimeter. But as a whole, the Hawks defense has got to really communicate and be wary of where the Magic three-point shooters are to try and have a shot at trying to slow them down. So again, I personally say Orlando is going to go 4-2. They made it to the finals once, and that was with Hedo Turkoglu. So maybe it's fate that they need Hedo Turkoglu to do good. I'm just going to grab a quick drink here, but we're going to move on to, I think is going to be the most exciting matchup in the first round of the Eastern Conference. That's going to be the Boston Celtics, the 3 versus the 6, the New York Knicks. Now, I originally wanted, I was praying that Miami would lose and they would drop and they would be the 3rd place team, because I was really into that. I wanted Miami versus New York. I wanted a Melo versus LeBron. I wanted a Bosh versus Amar'e. I wanted a Billups versus D Wade. That would have been a very fun 7-game series. I think that would have gone, but fortunately, that is not the matchup that happened. And I'm going to talk about the Boston New York matchup. And I think when I look at Boston and New York, I look at the 2 rosters. This is a matchup that favors both teams right now. In my personal opinion, this is a matchup that I think actually favors both teams, and not just Boston, not just New York. You look at Amar'e and Kevin Garnett. That's going to be an interesting matchup to put up. You also have Paul Pierce versus Carmelo Anthony. Those two are going to be very nice matchups to see what's going to happen, how that's going to play out. And then you also looked at, you're going to have Ray Allen out there, and you're going to have Rondo versus Chauncey Billups. And that's going to be an interesting thing. And I think as the big threes kind of been aging, for lack of a better term. Um, you're gonna see you're gonna see Rondo. I think really has to be the heart of that team, and it not only has to be uh, getting not only getting Pierce involved, Allen and Garnett, but he's got to get guys off that when some of those bench guys come out, like Jeff Green, Big Baby. Who else do they have? There's a lot of people. Oh, Jermaine O'Neal. He's got to get them involved, and I believe Jermaine is actually going to be starting. So I mean, discredit him coming off the bench, but you kind of get my idea. And I think the problem for the Boston Celtics, what is going to hurt them is, I think, not really having that size up front anymore. With Kendrick Perkins now in Oklahoma City, I think because they're gonna miss his size, but because of that, because it looks like they might not have Shaq for a couple more games. I don't know the estimated time when he's gonna come, but you look at it, the really only big body that they have, like a true big body, is really gonna be Jermaine O'Neal. Yes, you have Big Baby Davis, but he's 6'9". He's not gonna be a very I don't think he's gonna be a very potent matchup for Amar'e Stoudemire. So that right there, I think that favors New York a little bit, because now that means they can play a little small ball, and I think what they could do is Amar'e at the center, and you pull up Melo up to the 4 spot, and I think that because Boston does not have many big bodies like they used to anymore, I think New York playing small ball is going to help them, and having Amar'e at center and having Melo at the 4, especially Melo at the 4, if he's got to go up against something like Kevin Garnett, I don't think Kevin Garnett really has the legs anymore to try and stay in front of Melo. Excuse me. So I think if they play small ball, it's really gonna. I wouldn't say it's gonna completely favor them, but it will. I think it will help them a lot in the long run to really get into that. Give them a chance to really fight. But in the end, I believe that. I think it's gonna be the experience of Boston that is really gonna just overpower the New York Knicks, and I think Boston's gonna take it in 6 games, 4-2. I have to go with Boston Celtics. I rooted for them back in 2008, and since then, kind of, I'm back on the LA Laker train right there. So I don't know. I wouldn't say I necessarily rooted for them in 2008, but I wasn't necessarily mad when they won. Now I kind of am, but it's a different story. But I think Boston, having had that championship experience, I don't know. I think they're gonna take it. And I think Rondo is gonna be that X factor for them. And they have Jeff Green coming off that bench. I think if Jeff Green can really get himself going, I think that can also help the Boston Celtics, especially down the road, going further in the playoffs if they continue to win. Again, I'm not going into the further rounds. I'm just talking about round 1. So I'm not going to talk about further rounds here if you haven't already figured it out. So I'm going to get into the final matchup in the East, and that is the Miami Heat, the number 2, the number 2 seeded team versus number 7 seeded team, the Philadelphia 76ers. And I think this is going to be one of those interesting matchups to see as it goes down, because you have probably the most notorious team in Miami currently right now to most people. And then you have this Philadelphia team that's really been a surprise thanks to Coach Doug Collins really getting them to buy in to my theory is buying into a team effort and really hatching out the talent that they do have. They have a lot of talent with Andre Iguodala, and you have Evan Turner, you have Drew Holiday. I believe they also have Spencer Hawes. They have some good pieces there. You have Elton Brand, a big vet excuse me, big man who's he's been around the league. You know, he knows his way around that league, and I think that's gonna be it's gonna be interesting combined to face off against the Miami Heat. Now, when I look at these two teams, I think I have to say, everyone wants me to say Philadelphia will win this series. As much as I would like to see the Miami Heat fail and say, hey, Bosh, LeBron, Wade, hey, you guys shouldn't have teamed up, something like that. I do think Miami will get out of the first round. I think they will. And that's just because I think when it comes down to it, whether they're going to be, down, or if they're in late game situations, I think, okay, maybe not late game situations, but I think that mentality from LeBron and D Wade is gonna kick in, and they're gonna somehow figure it out, and they're gonna figure it out, and they're gonna really put Philadelphia on its heels. I think, no doubt, Miami has the pieces for a first round run. Now, do they have the pieces for a second in a conference finals run or even a finals run? I don't know yet, because when I look at that team, I see Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and then from there it's just kind of fizzles out. I don't see much potential. That bench just does not have that. It just does not have the ability to support this Miami team. I look at Mike Bibby being the starter now. I believe Eric Dampier, and I know Zadrunas has been injured, but when I just see the big three, and then it's just like, I really don't see much else from there. There's not much firepower, in a sense, coming off the Miami bench. And I think that's gonna be one of their downfalls later on. But in terms of the big three, and even Mike Miller, they have the ability to take it to the Philadelphia 76ers in this first round. Philly's got some good pieces. Again, like I said, Andre Iguodala, playing the U.S. national team that played this summer. He's another guy that's playing at a good level. He's a really good player, but again, he's just never had essentially another star or another really good player at his side to really propel this team. But I think Philadelphia is just really too inexperienced. They don't really have the playoff experience, unlike some of these other teams, except maybe for the Indiana Pacers in this Eastern Conference first round. Indiana and Philly are really the two teams that have a lot of potential. A lot of young guys can really help them when it goes down the road in the future. But right now, when you look at it, they don't have the playoff experience, and I think that's going to be one of the biggest things that is going to hurt them. Is a lot of guys without experience. It's the playoffs. This is where superstars are born. This is where players really shine, and I think Philadelphia just doesn't have enough experience in terms of playoff experience to really take it to Miami. You have LeBron and Wade. They've had a lot of playoff experience, so I think it's gonna be hard for Philadelphia to win. So again, I would love to see Miami fall and fail, but I feel they're gonna get through the first round and they're gonna go 4-2 over Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia has some pieces that can really get at Miami in a couple games. I think they're not gonna be able to win on the road. That's one thing I don't think they can do. So that is it. That is the first round of the Eastern Conference for the first round. Whatever. Those are my playoff predictions for the Eastern Conference in the first round. So it's Johnny B. Wait up for the first round predictions of the Western Conference first round.